At times, it's easy to realize that we live in a very peculiar world. Every day it seems that new and weird creatures are being shown online with literally no end in sight for when we will actually stop finding new animals to marvel at, and sometimes even be disgusted by. What's up, friends? Welcome to The Supreme. I'm your host, Matty Wills, and today's title is 8 Mysterious Creatures You Won't Believe Actually Exist. Want to become part of the Supreme team? Make sure to subscribe down below with notifications on so you don't miss anything we post each day. Let's get rolling. The monster in the tunnels. Up first on today's countdown, we've got perhaps one of the most disturbing videos I've ever seen. We're in the state of Oregon, where someone reported and claimed to hear very strange noises coming from a sewer. Why anyone would question strange noises in the sewer is beyond me, because, well, it's a sewer. But it's understandable that people want to make sure that the space around their home is secure, so I guess I get it. Anyway, one of the people who claimed to have heard the sounds did what any one of us would do, which is to grab a video camera, throw on some dirty clothes, and made their way down into the sewers. What, you wouldn't do that? Great idea, right? Once he got down there, at least according to the footage that he captured on camera, the strange noises started getting louder and louder. You can hear the young man talk to himself about what he's hearing, but it's what he ends up seeing that's the cause for so much concern. The sounds start to get quieter as the young man calls out, though I'm not sure exactly what type of response he was looking for. Then you see it. What in the world is that? The glowing white eyes of this humanoid creature look scary as anything I've ever seen. But what could they have been? And more importantly, do you think it was even real? Speaking of creatures that we really just have no clue about, check this out. What in the heck is that thing? It almost looks like it could be the same type of creature that we've seen just in the previous number. But of course, there's really no way for us to prove any of that. If you had to guess, what would you say that it was? Let us know your best takes down there in the comments, and we'll go ahead and get us into the next clip. The Flying Witch. We'll move on. Up next, we find ourselves down in Monterrey, Mexico, where over a decade ago, one of the more convincing videos proving the existence of witches, yeah, those witches, may indeed actually exist. Back in mid-May of 2006, video surfaced that had local media in an uproar when reports began pouring in regarding a supposed witch that was flying around the city. Check out the video. Now, I do have to say that this obviously isn't the clearest footage that we've ever seen, but it strangely does appear to be some kind of flying humanoid. But is this really a witch flying around on a broomstick, like all of the old tales and books regarding witchcraft might suggest? It's really hard to say. There's no denying the fact that there definitely was something strange happening here, but as far as it being a flying witch, well, we'll just leave that up for you to decide. Human Stickman. Up next on today's list, we've got another one of the most unknown creatures that I've ever seen. We're in Russia, and keep your eyes on the left side of the building, where you'll see the most ridiculous looking stick bug in the world. A stick bug, for those who don't know, is exactly what it sounds like, a bug that looks like a stick. Now, they typically are found in the tropics and subtropics and not the middle of a Russian city, but hey, we've seen stranger things in weirder places. The other thing about this particular bug, however, is the size. Just look at how incredibly large this creature, whatever you want to call it, actually is. Of course, this isn't actually a stick bug, at least I don't think, if you want to be technical, because there's absolutely no record of one of them this sized ever being spotted, least of all in Russia. So what do you think this really is? Tube-nosed fruit bat. Now let's move on from the strangest things perhaps ever recorded and focus on a few creatures that we know really do exist, and some of us have even seen them before. We'll start with this cute furry little guy. This is called the tube-nosed fruit bat, and they're native to the Philippines. One funny thing about these guys is that they've been known to have been compared to the infamous Star Wars character Yoda because of how they kind of resemble the little old-looking fellow. Clearly, the most demonstrative physical attribute about this little animal is the shape of its nose, which, in reference to their name, looks like a couple of tubes hanging from the middle of their face. According to science, And a bunch of people that know a whole lot more than I do about this specific flying rodent, the tubes for a nose allow the creature to continue to breathe even when its face is stuffed inside of a fruit while it's pigging out on whatever meal it has in front of it. Like many other animals that depend on these types of forests to survive, it's no wonder that the deforestation is hurting the overall numbers of the tube-nosed as well. Have you ever seen this animal before? The rainbow octopus. We'll move on. So everything we've seen so far today has occurred on land, but what about the interesting and mostly unknown animals that live underwater? Next up, meet the beautiful yet vastly unknown blanket octopus. This particular pair is multicolored and looks like a floating, swimming rainbow. Not so scary, I know, but these things are pretty special for more than just the reason of how they look. Did you know that the difference in sizes between male and females of this species are as large as they are in between any animals in the world? What I mean is, males typically only grow to about 0.9 inches long, while the females can be a staggering 6 feet. Yeah, that means that when these two get together to make a baby, they look kind of like a couple of, never mind, I forgot that we've got kids watching. Anyway, aside from the fact that females can outweigh their lovers by a ridiculous 40,000 times, there are some other very odd characteristics about this species. While jellyfish are known to have stingers that could affect humans, and with gigantic jellyfish causing a potentially fatal threat to human beings and almost any other animal that comes into its quarters, these particular octopus are actually immune to the stinging cells of these animals. Now, how crazy is that? Toxic slime oozer. We'll keep things moving right along, and up next we've got another real animal that just so happens to have a very unreal natural ability. And it's kind of disgusting, to be completely honest. We're talking about the red-cheeked salamander, and according to animal experts, this little guy can be found exclusively in the Great Smoky Mountains National Park, and when it's attacked, it can ooze a disgusting toxic ooze that is poisonous to the touch. If that's not weird enough, there's a couple more insane characteristics about this little lizard, including the fact that it can drop its tail at its discretion when it feels threatened. And also, they don't breathe through their mouths or their noses, but they breathe through their skin. Yeah, I know, it's weird. Now, the toxin is not known to be fatal for humans, though experts do recommend for people to stay away from even the slightest contact with these tiny lizards. That may prove to be a bit difficult in this area, as the Great Smoky Mountains National Park is also known as the salamander capital of the world, as over 30 different species live here. Well, what's that? Before I can give you the next strange creature on today's countdown, I've got to send a very special shout out to none other than Tango Digital Systems, who just a couple days ago left us a comment that read, "Hey, Maddie, I have already grabbed my popcorn and ready to watch today's episode. Hashtag Supreme Family." Ha! Hey, Tango Digital, we really appreciate that love, and that is straight from the bottom of our heart. Also, don't forget, we've got a brand new episode every single day here at The Supreme. Now, on to perhaps the most bizarre creature on today's list, and I mean that this could win that title by a lot. Check it out. This is, well, we actually aren't really sure what it is. With 2 wings and 4 tentacles, it most closely resembles what is known in the science world as the Creotonotus gangus, which is kind of a way of calling it a fancy moth. And fancy is certainly a word I would consider using to describe this thing, though I would probably lean towards something more like creepy or crawly or scary. Well, you get the point. This creature was found by a man who lives in Bali, Indonesia, and at first glance, he says that he simply thought that the only thing this could be was an alien, and it doesn't take a genius to see why. What would you do if you woke up to this in your bedroom? Do you want to get a shout out in one of our daily videos? Well, don't forget to drop a comment down below with the hashtag Supreme Family. Tomorrow could be your day. Now, let's get back to the topic. Star-nosed mole. We'll end things today with perhaps the most bizarre looking real creature on today's list, and you can find it usually burrowing beneath the earth and swimming in lakes and streams up in southeastern Canada and northwestern US. It's called a star-nosed mole, and you can tell right off the bat, especially if you pay attention to its nose, that this little guy is a different kind of animal. For starters, it's almost completely blind and is able to maneuver through the dirt while it's underground and water while it's swimming, both with a very keen sense of smell, as they also have 22 tentacles that are around that nose. This is how they detect prey, and according to some really smart people who've studied this particular animal, those 22 tentacles are home to more than 2,500 sensors. They usually feast on insects, worms, fish, and whatever other small invertebrates it can find in the water. And through all of our research, oddly enough, we weren't able to determine whether or not these guys make for good house pets. So is there anyone out there that can tell us if they do? And that's today's video. If you like today's video, leave a thumbs up and share it with all your friends. Also, don't forget to subscribe to this channel so that you never have to miss out on any of our interesting videos ever again.